Hello, welcome back to Inktober Tangles. Today is October 4th and today's tangle is Facets, and I am doing the Inktober Tangles prompts by Stephanie Jennifer. I am using a bijou tile, I am using my Speedball run-of-the-mill dip pen, and this nib is a Zebra G nib that I got for a couple bucks on Amazon. Today's ink is one of my faves, but I feel like I'm gonna say that a lot. This is Diamine Shimmer Golden Sands. It's one of the first shimmery inks I ever got. I just think that this bottle, it reminds me of Felix Felicius, I think that's how you say it, the luck potion from the Harry Potter franchise. Every time I look at it, I think it's liquid luck. Hopefully I don't spill it and ruin that luck. So today is Facets, and it is a pretty fun one. I haven't done it in a really long time, which is, I went through a phase where I did it quite a bit. So let's see if I can put that there. It's so pretty. Okay, so it's let's get some ink on there. It's, I guess you could call it a grid-based one. It's kind of grid-based. I'm just gonna start by giving myself some guidelines to work with. And now I'm gonna do what I like to think of as the Charlie Brown stripe, which is, you know, and then on the next stripe, I'm going to do alternating triangle-y things, so I get this, I guess they kind of look like diamonds, or if your stripes are more parallel, they'll look more like squares. One of the I was gonna say drawbacks, but one of the features or quirks of using a dip pen is that you can't really push the pen like you can with, say, a micron. So there's a lot of like having to think about the way that I do the tangle so that I'm somehow, whoops, oh, just spilled it, always bringing the pen towards myself so I can get some ink to come out of there. All right, so like this might have been use my tangle back in the very early days of my blog. Maybe not. I really have this memory of doing this tangle a lot when my blog was brand new. Got quite a bit of drops of ink happening right here. I'm very careful to not smudge that. One of the other highlights of a dip pen of this particular nib. I'm going to see if I can zoom in and show you. It's going to make everything shake. Sorry. Okay, so the tines in this nib, they meet at a point, and well, obviously they meet at a point. And you can get very different line variations. You can get really thin, and then if you press down a little bit, you can get a wider line. You can see how the nibs separate, and you can see a little bit of the ink flowing between the two nibs to get that thick line, which is awesome for like lettering and stuff. I mean, it's awesome for dentangling too, but you just have to be aware of it. So every time I'm bringing my line down, and if I add any weight to it, then I just have to be aware that I'm leaving a trail of a lot wetter ink. Anyway, back to our regular scheduled tangling program. So that's why I've got a bunch of buildup here. And I'm not, usually if I was doing this with a micron, I would start in this section and work through this section, but because I have all this wet stuff happening there, I'm gonna skip this one and come back to it. I'm gonna finish this one first though. Okay. So doing like line variation is a good way to imply shading, which is nice. Especially since with like a dip pen, there isn't really a lot of options for shading like there is with graphite. I mean, I suppose a person could go back in after everything's dry with a pencil and add shading. I just never do. Not for Inktober. And you'll maybe find if you're doing a lot of stuff with different fountain pen ink that some inks seem to be like a lot wetter. This ink seems to be like pretty wet. And I know that seems weird because I mean they're all ink and of course obviously they're all wet, but like when I was doing the J hair bond the other day, it didn't seem to go through my nib quite so fast as this one is. Of course, it's possible that I'm intentionally adding more weight, because when you add the wet ink, you get more of the shimmer, which is what I love about this ink in the first place. Whoop, I just made a mess. It's the other quirk of using a dip pen. You tend to get ink everywhere, like all over your fingers. And your nicely done nails that I just got done tonight. Okay. this mess. You can see any of the gold shimmer in there. It's still fairly wet. But that's Facets in a nutshell. So Facets, my ink was Diamine Shimmer in Golden Sands. There's my pen, there's my little nib. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment and tell me if you have any plans for Thanksgiving, which in Canada is this weekend. If you are in the States or somewhere else in the world, let me know where you're from. And yeah, have a wonderful Thursday night. And I'll see you guys all later. Bye.